Notice this drop? The car didn't move, no alerts, no issue. That's silent energy loss most owners never question. Leave it long enough and you're losing range every single day for no reason. That adds up faster than people think. That usually comes down to a few small habits that seem normal but quietly affect the system. Let's start with the first one. Habit number 1. Stop waking your Tesla with the app every few minutes. Stop checking your Tesla app constantly. Every time the app connects, your car wakes up. Tesla is designed to enter a low-power sleep state when parked, where background systems shut down and energy use drops significantly. But when you refresh battery level, open climate controls, or check status, the system powers back on to respond. That wake cycle uses energy. Tesla owners often call this phantom drain. Even Tesla acknowledges that some battery loss while parked is normal. But most of it happens when the car doesn't stay asleep long enough. 1 or 2 checks don't matter, but repeated app use throughout the day keeps interrupting the sleep cycle. The car never reaches its lowest standby state. That's where the loss builds. You may notice a few % drop overnight and assume something is wrong. In many cases, the car simply stayed semi-awake the entire time. Let the vehicle sleep. Check the app only when you need it. Avoid refreshing it just to monitor the battery. Tesla already tracks everything in the background. You don't need to keep waking it. When the car stays asleep, energy use drops to a fraction of what it is when awake. That keeps your parked battery stable, your range predictable, and your ownership experience quieter over time. Habit number 2. Stop leaving Sentry mode on in safe location. Turn off Sentry mode when you don't need it. Sentry mode is designed for security, but it changes how your Tesla behaves while parked. Instead of entering a true low-power sleep state, the car stays partially active. The cameras remain ready, the system continues monitoring, and the onboard computer keeps running in the background. That comes at a cost. Unlike normal standby, where the car settles into minimal energy use, Sentry mode keeps multiple systems engaged the entire time. That means the vehicle never fully sleeps. Tesla even states this clearly in the owner's manual. Power consumption increases when Sentry mode is enabled. The issue isn't using Sentry mode, it's leaving it on everywhere. If your car is parked in a private garage, a secure driveway, or a controlled environment, Sentry mode adds very little real protection. But it continues to draw energy hour after hour. Many owners notice a steady drop overnight and assume it's just normal behavior. In many cases, it isn't. The car is simply staying awake longer than it needs to. Over time, that pattern means more frequent charging, more unnecessary energy use, and less predictable range when you return to the car. Nothing feels wrong, but the system isn't operating efficiently either. Use Sentry mode with intention. Turn it on in public places, unfamiliar areas, or anywhere the car is exposed. Turn it off when the environment is already secure. You can also set exclusions, so the car handles this automatically. When the car is allowed to fully sleep, energy use drops significantly. That keeps your battery stable, your range consistent, and your daily routine simpler without sacrificing real security, where it actually matters. Habit number 3. Stop ignoring regenerative braking limits. Watch your regen before you rely on it. Regenerative braking doesn't behave the same in every condition. When the battery is cold or already near a high state of charge, the system limits how much energy it can accept. You'll see this as a dashed line on the regen bar, or feel the car slowing less than usual when you lift off the pedal. That change isn't random. The battery can't safely take in high current when it's cold or near full, so the system reduces regen to protect the cells. When that happens, the car leans more on the friction brakes to handle deceleration. If you drive expecting full regen, the car won't slow the way you anticipate. That leads to harder braking, less smooth control, and slightly reduced efficiency on that drive. Many owners notice it in winter or right after charging, but treat it as inconsistent behavior instead of a system limit. Adjust your driving when regen is reduced. Give yourself more space, ease off earlier, and let the car warm up, or use preconditioning when possible. Once the battery reaches an optimal temperature and charge window, regen returns to normal strength. When you drive with regen limits in mind, the car feels consistent again. Braking becomes smoother, energy recovery improves, and the system behaves predictably instead of catching you off guard. Habit number 4. Stop using navigation without the energy graph. Open the energy graph when you're using navigation. Tesla's route estimate isn't a fixed number you can set and forget. It's constantly adjusting based on how you're actually driving in that moment. Your speed, the terrain ahead, elevation changes, wind resistance, and even how much climate you're using. The system is always recalculating in the background to keep the estimate accurate. But if you're only watching the arrival percentage, you're missing how that number is evolving. That's where most owners get caught off guard. If your driving starts using more energy than the system expected, the projected arrival SOC will slowly begin to drop. It doesn't happen suddenly, it shifts gradually. Many people only notice it near the end of the trip and assume the navigation was wrong from the start. In reality, the car was updating correctly the entire time. You just weren't seeing the consumption trend behind it. The energy graph shows that trend clearly. It tells you whether you're above or below the expected usage in real time. That gives you the chance to adjust early, when it actually makes a difference. Slightly easing off speed, smoothing acceleration, or reducing climate load can bring your consumption back in line. Those small changes matter more at the beginning than at the end. Drive with that feedback visible. When you use the energy graph as a live reference, range stops feeling uncertain. The car becomes easier to read, easier to trust, and far more predictable over longer drives. Habit number 5. Stop overloading the center screen with too many apps. Simplify your center screen before you start driving. Tesla's display is built to give you quick readable information. But when multiple panels are open, navigation, media, energy, browser, settings, the screen becomes crowded. Each element competes for space, and nothing stands out as clearly as it should. The system can handle it. Your attention can't as easily. Every extra panel increases the time your eyes stay on the screen. You glance longer to find controls, switch between apps more often, and process more information than necessary. It feels normal because the interface is smooth, but the interaction becomes less efficient. That's where subtle friction shows up. You tap more than needed. You hesitate before selecting the right control. Small delays start stacking across the drive. It doesn't feel like a problem, but it reduces how quickly and confidently you interact with the car. Keep the layout focused. Use navigation as your primary view. Add one secondary panel only if you actually need it, like media or energy. Close everything else. For quick actions, rely on steering wheel controls or voice commands instead of opening more apps. A cleaner screen reduces both visual load and interaction time. The system feels faster, but more importantly, your decisions feel faster. You spend less time managing the interface and more time driving. The car hasn't changed, but the way you use it becomes sharper, calmer, and easier to trust over longer drives. Final thought. What actually improves Tesla ownership? Stop trying to control everything your Tesla does. The car is already managing most of the complexity in the background. The battery, software, and thermal systems are constantly adjusting to keep things efficient and stable. Problems usually don't come from what the car is doing. They come from small habits that work against that system without you noticing. That's what most owners overlook. You don't need more effort. You need fewer interruptions. When you remove those habits, the car settles into a rhythm that feels consistent. Energy use stops fluctuating as much. Range estimates stay steady. The driving experience becomes predictable in a quiet, reliable way. Nothing dramatic changes. But the car starts behaving the same way every day. And that's what good ownership looks like. You're not managing the machine anymore. You're letting it work properly. If you value simple Tesla advice that actually makes a difference, consider subscribing for more like this.